Okay, our left hand lesson today is again a theory lesson more than a technique lesson, but I do want you to play these scales, and that will help with your left hand as well. We haven't done the specific technique exercises to help with these sort of scales, so again it's not so much about the technique, so just run through it slowly. Okay, we looked earlier when we were looking at tritones at a major scale, and we went, and the focus then was on listening to the scale and hearing how all of those notes made sense in that little journey there from here to here and back. What we want to do now is identify those notes by name, look at them a bit closer, look at how they function with each other, and look how they in melodies and how they function each other to make chords, with each other to make chords. Now, first of all, let's look at playing the whole scale on one string rather than two, and that's going to be important for you to understand how it works. So, that's it there. This part of the scale you can play starting from that 7th fret, because that's the same note as that 3rd string there. So I want you to play that scale all on the bottom string, with your open and the 1st and the 3rd and then the 4th, and then jump down to the 7th fret with your 1st finger, and then again the 3rd, and then the 2nd and the 3rd. We won't do the big stretch yet. Okay, I'll just do that last. Okay, now just play all those notes and then see if you can come back. Okay, there's your major scale in G. Now, if you were to do exactly the same thing on the next string, you'd also have a logical, coherent sequence of notes that started and finished on a different place. Now, that's exactly the same scale, it's still a major scale, but now it's in the D major scale, because that note there, that open note there, is a D. If you were to play it on the next string, on the 2nd string, again that's a G note there, so it's a G major scale again, but it's an octave higher than the one we did there. So the first one we did finished on that G, which is the same as that open G on the 2nd string, and we essentially just kept going another octave. Again, the same pattern gives us a G major, and likewise a D major scale, B major scale. So play all of those nice and slowly using that fingering. You're picking down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Now, I want you to play them and listen closely to them, and be aware that every single time you're playing the same sequence of steps. So first we have two frets gap, then another 2 fret gap, then a 1 fret gap, then another 2 and another 2, and then another 2 and then a 1. And it's that particular pattern of 2 steps, 1 step, 2, 2, 2, 1 that enables that major scale sound. Okay, pardon me, clearing my throat. Now we're going to do it, and we're going to name the notes by number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Easy enough, I hope. Now the distance from the first note to the second note is important, and we call that distance a major second, because it's from the first to the second. So that distance is a major second from there to there. 2 2 frets is the same as a major second. That distance there, 2 frets, is a major second. That distance there, 2 frets, is a major second. Okay? The distance from the first note to the third note is 4 frets, or a major third. That distance there is a major third. If I start from here and play 4 frets, that's a major third. Any string there, 4 frets, that distance is a major third. Okay? Stay with me. Likewise, that distance is a fourth, that distance is a fifth, a sixth, a seventh, an octave. Okay? All of these distances are important because they make melodies, they define the relationships between different notes, and so we give them names. Now, the way that you build a chord then is you take every second one of those notes, depending on what scale you're in, just to make whatever chord you want. Right? So if we miss that second note, play the third one, miss that fourth note, play the fifth one, and just play those 3 notes, we have the 3 notes from a major chord. We play them all together, we get the chord. Okay. If you play just the first note and the fifth one, you get that, right, the 2 bass strings. Not a chord yet. Not a chord until we add the third note and make it a chord. Right? It's one of the advantages of playing a 4-string guitar is it's much easier to play chords. So, and to the practical side of all this, now, when you're looking up a chord in a chord chart, one of the charts in the notes, for example, say for a D chord, and you see me do that, you can be confident that that has all 3 notes of the chord in it, the 1, the 3, the 5 in it, because it's just that open chord, which we know in G, which we know has the 1, the 3, the 5 in it, moved up to a new space. The same, likewise, if you play that as a C or a B flat, you know that you've got all your chord notes in there. If, however, I tell you to play a D like that, how are you going to tell what notes are in there, whether that's your best choice or not? Yeah? There's a couple of ways to do that. You can just play it anyway and don't care whether it's your best choice or not. You can ask someone else, that type of thing, right? You can just sort of leave it and, I don't care, I just want to play the tune, move on. Cool. Do that if that's what you want to do. That's all good. Your other choice is to listen to that. Listen maybe to that, because that's another option for a D chord. We'll go over these fingerings in a minute. For now, it's about listening. And you might decide, well, which one of those do I like the sound of the best? I like the sound of that one more than that one. I don't really care why. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. All that stuff. I just know that I like the sound of that. I'm going to play that. Absolutely fantastic. Go for it. Do it. The thing is, though, that requires a lot of confidence in your listening. And in the early stages, a lot of players don't have that. Right? And when you'll say, oh, I know what I like, and that's great. But are you confident that that's, how are you going to back that up? How are you going to really inform yourself that you know you're making the right decision? Or the best decision, I should say, not the right decision. The best decision. Which leads us to a third way of figuring this stuff out, and that is understanding what these individual notes are. If I say that that's a D chord, well, okay, you know that the chord has the first, the third, the fifth notes in it. So of these 3 notes here, which one? Is that the 1, or is it the 3, or is it the 5? What is it? That's what the rest of this lesson is going to be about. Okay. Now that requires a number of things. It requires you to be able to name these notes in a different way. We've already named them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. But that depends on what key you're in. So if I say that, if we're a G and I say that's the one, or what chord, that's the one. If I then play a D chord, well, that becomes the one. Right? So they won't always have the same name. So it helps to be able to learn their letter names as well. Now this will help you not only understand your sort of theory and your understanding of chords, but it'll help you learn your fretboard, because you'll start to learn the names of these notes. That's a D, that's an E, that's an F, that's a G, etc. And you'll learn it by applying it. And that's the best way to learn anything. Okay. Take a pause if you want to go grab a cold drink or a hot drink or something. I know this is some pretty heavy theory we're getting into now, and it will take some time and practice and application to really get it. But this is all about laying the foundation. And it's okay, it's absolutely okay not to be 100% clear with this at this point. Right? Alright, back to it. If we name all these notes in G, there's one thing you have to just remember. Right? And that is, well, a couple of things I suppose. There's the 7 notes, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and when you get to G you just start again. Okay, so it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Right? All of those notes are 2 semitones apart, except for the B and the C and the E and the F. Right? The B and the C are next to each other, the E and the F. If you have a look at a piano keyboard, you'll see you've got black note, white note, black note, white note, and then 2 white notes. Black, white, 2 white notes again. The 2 white notes together are the B and the C and the E and the F. So if we just remember that much, and we know that that's a G, the next one, up 2 frets is an A, up 2 frets is a B. Now B and C are next to each other, so that's a C. C and D, D and E, E and F, oops, E and F are next to each other. E and F are next to each other. F, G. So that all those notes again, G, A, B, C, B, C, D, E, E, F, F, G. Okay. Now our G scale went like this, G, A, B, C, D, E, and then this one, before we went to the G. Now that one is not an F, it's an F sharp, because that's your F and you go up 1 to make it sharp. So the notes in G are G, A, B, C, whoops, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. So the notes in a G chord are G, B, D. G, Mr. A play the B, Mr. C play the D. So if you find a voicing for a G chord somewhere that someone gives you, you can now say, okay, does it have a G in it, does it have a B in it, what has it got in it? Okay. For example, let's find a G chord. There's a D, there's a B there, there's a G there, there's a D there. So this chord here, 3rd fret, 4th fret, 5th fret on ascending strings, top string, 2nd string, 3rd string. That's a G chord. Now if you want to choose whether or not you want to play that G chord or that G chord, it's still a G as well. You can say, oh, I like the sound of that one better. Or you might decide to play it like that. That might suit your song, right? So I've just taken that finger off. That sounds kind of cool, doesn't it? In order to help you make that oral choice, the choice you're making with your ear, you can figure out what these notes are. Now that is an open string B, we know that. B and C are next to each other. That one must be a D. That's an open string G, G and A and B. That one must be a B. That's a D, D, E, F, E and F are next to each other. That one must be a G. So G, B and D are your G chord. And it's arranged in a different way, isn't it, to this. Okay, all the notes are nice and close to each other. Here they're further apart. So you might decide, oh, I like this sound of the notes close together. I'll use that again in my next chord that I pick. Or I like this sound with it more spread out and airy. I'll use that idea in the next chord that I pick. Right. Likewise, you might see a couple of D chords. You might see that one with my, again, the third string, 3rd fret, 2nd fret, 4th fret. You might see this one with those two again, but the 3rd string open, and then the bass on the 2nd fret, and not quite sure which one you prefer or which one you want to use, but you might think, oh, I think I like that one. Let's see if we can figure it out. D, E, that one must be an F sharp, because that's an F. D, E, F sharp. Right, what else have we got? There one, G, A, that's the 5th note. D, B, C, D, so that's got all 3 notes. The F sharp on the bottom there. This one, G, A, that's the 5th. D, that's the 1st. That's the A again, it's the 5th. That's the D again, so that's just got the D and the A and the D and the A. That's why it doesn't sound quite as full as that one, because it doesn't have the 3rd in it. You with me? Likewise, for any of the chords you pick, it's really helpful for you to figure out what the names of them are, match them against the key, find out where the first note is, for example, and that'll help you learn your fretboard. It'll help your ear, because you'll be able to verify that that sound there is a major chord, a major sound, and then you'll be able to confidently recognize it the next time you hear it, more confidently recognize it, because that's a bit ambiguous, isn't it? You'll also, importantly, be able to find a minor chord, because when we get to that, you'll know that the major is there, the minor is there, therefore, if that's a major, that's a minor. Okay, a minor chord. It's a little triangle there. Okay, so we got a bit heavy there at the end. So I'll just summarise, shall I? And it's all in your notes. We have a scale. Some of them are 2 frets apart, some of them are 1. We can name them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. We can also name them by letter names, and when we do that, the B and the C have these smaller gaps, and so does the E and the F. Everything else is 2 frets apart. Okay, G, A, B, C, E, F. Regardless of where we start from, if we go up to 4 frets there, a major 3rd, and then a minor 3rd, we have a major chord. Right? Because if you look at the G, the 1st note, the 3rd note and the 5th note, that's the gap, isn't it? A major 3rd there, and then 3 frets there, which is a minor 3rd. Yeah. So then you're able to identify from whatever chord shape that you find, or better still, just find them yourself, figure out for yourself, which one is going to have which note in it. Okay, that'll help you make more informed choices about which chord shapes to play. Because on a 4 string, even though it's easier than a 3, you still sometimes are left with chord shapes such as that don't really cut the mustard. Yeah? Certainly as well as that, even though it's got 1 less string in it. Yeah. So again, all that stuff will become clearer as you move on, and it might take a couple of years before the penny to drop. Is that what the expression is? Yeah, the penny to drop. That's all right. You've been introduced to it now, and something else will happen one day in the future that will go, that's what he was on about. Okay, you don't need any of this stuff to play the song, which is perhaps why you're here in the first place, which is coming up, and that is Stand By Me, in which we look at picking out some of these individual chord notes to move between different chords and play little runs, and it's a great little song. So we'll get on to that next, shall we?